Hey, Della Gravy, how you going wandering through your town? I hope you don't end up with Bailey's hat on your bed, mate. Good to have yous here. Bailey's hat, thank you very much for the Asian cattle. Mate, it feels like it's been forever. You know, I've been to the family, I've been back. I've done some photography, I've been back. My daughter's bird died today, the first pet she's ever had pass away. And she was actually the one that found it while I was there. It was catastrophic, but that's not what we hear about today. What we hear about today, my friends, is officers versus enlisted soldiers. I'm going to clarify a little bit difference between the lanes that so often we try to step out of. I'm going to put my glasses on here because we're talking about officers today, and this will give me more of a perspective and maybe a little bit more intellect. Bam. When you turn 50, guys, which is me soon, your eyes tend to go diddy mouth from the village. We've got Dave D here. That's great to put some perspective on the way you look at things too, mate, so that you can walk away from this going, now that makes sense. I'm probably going to see this. And you know what? Who's dancing on the ceiling? Okay, that'll be Lionel Richie. But guess who else is on the top of it is Carl P. He's just down here now. We've got Ryan Ward here as well. We've got Mr. Tree. Mr. Christmas Tree, Screed. The perfect banjo. We'll determine that. Hey, Kaz, what have I missed? Nothing. We've just started. It's only just begun. Welcome, Calamari. I like what you've done there. Jessie's girl, I wish I had that girl. Where can I find a woman like that? And I hope she hasn't got eyes like Cookie Monster, who is just below you. Lauren is here. Lauren has a fantastic video she did today about some of the law. I mean, LORE. She fought the law and law won. And that video came out today if you haven't seen it. It's about some of the politics that happened within this channel. No names are mentioned other than mine, and it's not about me, but you might find it very interesting. So if you see Lauren drop a link into that, feel free to put that on to watch later, etc. Or if this gets boring, step out and listen to that, and you might find it very interesting indeed. What happens in the back play of In the Trenches with Kaz when the lights go out. Zaki Talib, good to have you here, mate. Kane Higgins from up north, the brother, or at least compadre of Jay Hayes' west side. He's north side. Vernon, how you going, mate? And there it is. There's the link. Luke, the force is with you, Luke. We should be having some sergeants in the members very soon. Let's whack some banners on here just to give some respect to the real estate on the screen. Bam. Bam. Just to make it look a little bit different. And that's the 10th Legion down there. I haven't got the link to the Legion down below, but we're going to give away a couple of numbers today for those that are quickest to get in there. It's been a great time for us with the Patreon. We've had a lot of ladies crying when we go up to them in the middle of nowhere, try to change their life financially, or at least give them some burden of break while they're there with their children. We even had one lady who was a deuce and a half. She was a big lass who had 4 children, and I heard her say the words, "We can't afford that, love," to one of her children as they wanted to buy this decoration that had Santa, religious overtones, snow falling, lights and music, and it was 100 nicker. You know what? They might not have been able to afford it, but we could, and with the help of Patreon and those that are in the Patreon that are right there in chat with us now, we purchased that for them. Not only did I get a photo with the lovely family, not on my camera, they got one of me, but I got an invite. I got an invite from the mum to come and maybe stay and fill my stocking too, which I said no, that'd be unprofessional, and I got the hell out of Dodge. Another lady we helped with her family, and it turned out that she actually works for APS and works for Army, but as a civilian started crying, you know. They just couldn't believe it's happening to them. And it wasn't a lot of money. It was just to let them know that it's special. But that's not what today's about. Today's about leadership. Today is about the differences in the lanes between soldier, enlisted member, and that of someone who goes for the commission. Right? The dude, hey Kaz, how are you? About 3 months ago, I told you I came back from Afghan and was thinking about discharging, I believe he said. That is not the case now. I'm transferring to RAF in 3 weeks. Hope you're doing well, mate. The dude, Yep. Go to RAF. You can do 20, 30 years there real damn easy. Okay. It should be fairly easy on your bod. Won't be too hard on the discipline side of things either. You know, sleeping on the dirt as opposed to sleeping in a 5-star pillow. You know, RAF can be a good soft landing out of an army career. Good on you, mate. Good on you. Dave D. Kaz, when you wear glasses, you look like Mark Scaife. Huh. Not much of a driver. Roger Ramjet. G'day, guys. Sorry to hear about your daughter's bird, Kaz. That's awful. You know what? It tasted like chicken anyway, so it was a victory in the end. No, it wasn't. It was a budgie. It would have been a spicy wing at best. And at the moment, if I've got to run, that is because I've just eaten a whole pack of chili chips, kettle chili chips. And, the sparks are coming out already. You shouldn't eat that when you have lower bowel disease. Alex G, 2021 is going to be a great year for us all. I believe so too. And before we go into this leadership, think of this. 10-year calendar. 10-year calendar. Everyone gets a 1-year calendar, and apparently the Bill Gates fantastic saying is almost everyone underestimates or overestimates what they can achieve in 1 year, but underestimates what they can achieve in 10 years. So there's a message on the paper there, and, you know, he's done pretty well for himself. He's probably paid his own house off by now. Carl P., he agrees. Guys and gals, I want you to hold in the back of your mind, you know, a question before we go into this to stimulate the juices, so to speak, 50 shades of grey, if you will. What makes someone great? What makes a leader great? The difference between a leader and a manager, how do you go above that and become great? Let's get some answers there, if we can. What makes you great? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-doo. Christmas cheer, Santa didn't drink it. He abstained this year. So I've got one. And it is the year of Corona, so what better beer to have? Ryan, talking about leadership, anyone else seen the photo of the 2-Division Commander of the Australian Army Facebook page? No, mate, no. William Holland, there he is. Thank you very much, Patreon compadre. Competence? Nah, competence is not enough. Great. There's very few great people. Results can, yep, definitely. Accountability, nope. If anything, it can be different. You know, they achieve more than anyone, but they normally lose more than anyone along the way. There's almost never, there's no compassion involved at all in greatness. If anything, it's a sad tragedy for all those that are part of the franchise. Think it's Julius Caesar, he was great. Being one of his soldiers, holy shit. It was great to be on the winning side, but how many of them still got a dart in the neck? You got a dart in your neck, man. What movie's that from? What about Genghis Khan? Great results, great man, great leader, but again, death toll under his command, massive. Yeah, Modi, I'm used to seniors mode, mate. The ability to overcome and striving to be more? Yeah, okay, maybe. How about different? Different is better than good. Catastrophic results that come from absolute arcane actions. You know, there is so few people that are great. You could say Elon Musk is great. You know, the mistake is we think that we have to like them, if you know what I'm getting at. You don't have to like someone. They don't even necessarily have to be charismatic. There is something about them. They have the secret sauce that makes them the Coca-Cola, the KFC. They are the ingredient that is different, that is better than good. Because good can be obtained from most intelligent people, but to stand out above them, to transcend above them, to be great, there's something different about you that is impossible to learn in an institution, cannot be learned in university. It is about the art of leadership within the individual that doesn't swim with the current with the dead fish, that doesn't do the template, the default settings. It is someone that steps outside and hits from a different angle, that creates the potentially Facebook, Amazon, the Elon Musks. It doesn't have to be just military. But along the way, there's so many pitfalls. Joel Hurdle, need to give you a call soon, Kaz. Yep, do that, mate. Dave D, most of the greatest leaders were pricks interpersonally. Yep, absolutely they were. They're not there to be your friend. Just remember that. Who's one of the biggest leaders at the moment that's achieved more than anyone else in the world? Is Donald Trump. But people still get caught up in whether they like him or not. But they don't look at the results and go, he's actually great. Peace in the Middle East. Cure for COVID. Now, I'm not going to go into the politics tonight. Although, military is all about politics while saying it's got nothing to do with politics, isn't it? Let's get started. Bam. Soldier versus officer. Why only one matters. I want you to think about that throughout this. But also understand that the one thing that the soldier and the officer have in common is they're both volunteers. You choose the stream you go through. If you don't make it to officer, but you wanted to because you failed the OSB, Officer Selection Board, or you didn't have what it took in the aptitude test, or your schooling, or you didn't have any proof of leadership capability, because whether it was age, whether you weren't into sports, whether you just don't have it. It doesn't mean there's not leadership in the non-commissioned officer ranks. As a matter of fact, it's where the most leadership is, I believe, because we're able to communicate within ourselves without repercussion. An officer does something, says something that the chain of command above him hears, they can crush him like a sponge. Therefore, he is got little chance of ever being great, because one, it needs opportunity for him to rise above the rest, i.e. Colonel Custer, who when he was young, I believe was a captain, General Lee said to him, said something along, I wonder how deep that water is there. And Custer, I believe, as a lieutenant or as a captain, got his horse, rode in the middle of the river like a pole smoker, and said, it's this deep, sir. To show them, yes, we could ford it. And he said, who is that man? And they said, well, I believe that's Custer. He's got a good mustache, and he's an up-and-coming, and that's him that you can see in the photo with the cowboy hat. But he also overstepped himself. In what battle? Let us know in comments. Don't look it up. What battle did Custer get killed in? Great leaders surround themselves with great people and not just yes men. Absolutely. But men who give their leaders the honest opinion, and a leader who knows he can learn from the newest private. Yep. You've got to assume that everyone can teach you something. Everyone knows something that you don't know. Hey, Lauren, Kate and Peppers, I don't think you can truly have an officer without a soldier. Got to have chiefs of the Indians. It's true, but you also have to understand where you are in the mix and who is the most important at the different times. Little Bighorn, bam, Daz gets it right. Well done, sir. Little Bighorn, not Little Horn. Keep me out of it, Vincent. As a matter of fact, Vincent, have I seen you here before? If not, subscribe right now so I can see you pop up on the screen, young man. Bam. Let's go to the second one. What I've got is slides on here, team, so that we can go through these and it'll actually stimulate, put some moisture on the tongue and allow me to communicate in a way that at least stays chronological to an extent and allows us to communicate while talking down here to Ivan Renov, our favourite Rusky. Hey, Kaz, I'm back, and I think it was Big Horn. Again, we're talking about me here. My feet aren't big, which makes me an abstract version of what the rumours are about big feet means. Although I understand what you mean by their greatness. James Wood, g'day Marcus, g'day everyone. Vincent, I've been subbed, just haven't been around for live streams. Well, Vincent, great to have you here, mate. If you have a question, make sure you throw it up. And I don't mean... So everyone, there, can we get some thumbs up, please, for Vincent Van Gogh? How's your ears? Cane and Peppers, don't need a manager, but you do need a leader. And often leaders are actually, confused, or managers are confused and think they're leaders when 99% of them aren't. Leadership normally comes from the bottom. Leadership is normally an organic movement that is created by potentially a whinger or someone that can get things done that is not interested in, the politics of actually holding the ranks, striving for whatever. They're normally simple-minded people that people tend to follow out of motivation and out of action, someone that rises above and gives a solution where it's least expected. So the enlistment process, if you're going to be a non-commissioned officer, let's just say we're going to use Luke Hutchins for all of this one. Luke goes into the military, and at the moment he's going, I'd be an officer if they said it. If not, then I want to go to cavalry, which is actually infantry because they don't have sabres, And he goes in there and he does really, really well on his aptitude test. And they go, mate, you've done better than you probably expected. You've unlocked everything. Not even just that. G'day there, Paul. How you going, mate? So what we're going to do is going to throw you some options. We like the way you articulated yourself in the U session. We're going to give you the option on the down tree to go to general service soldier, or general enlistment, or you can go over and have a talk and see if you are going to be likely to be an officer candidate. And then from there, they might talk about what have you done? What's some proof of leadership? What education levels are you at? Because it can't be just how good you got an aptitude test. That's bullshit. That's got nothing to do with it. I've met a lot of smart, dumb fucks. Example, Q stores need a manager. Yep, they do. Cane and Peppers, how you going, mate? I feel like I've got some pepper on me jacksy at the moment. I've got some lava coming out me dot. So leader versus manager. We get that mixed up, but there is no way of knowing, especially during the COVID period, whether you're a leader or a manager, because the OSB is done online, which is impossible to tell whether you have leadership capability or whether you're just able to talk a good game and you've researched well and been within the trenches with Kaz and been prepared for what's coming next. But we'll see. So they determine, you're going to go and be an enlisted man, no worries, go over that way, and then you continue on through your assessment session, through your pre-enlistment fitness assessment, and there you go. You go off to Kapuka, basic training, boot camp. But the officer, if he goes through, then he's got two chances. One, he can go to ADFA, where he can go and do a university degree, which 99% of the time is probably useless. I don't know why they do it, and it's a waste of time and it's a waste of money from the taxpayers. Or they can go over the 18-month course, which is RMC, where the ADFA people then join them, where there's the 1 year to go. So they join them at the start of the class. And from there, they complete their officers' training. It still doesn't make you a leader. It means you have the basics of leadership. You understand the game, so to speak. But it is also where there's a lot of ability for people to... Samuel Mason, how you going, mate? Great to have you here. Can we get some thumbs up for Samuel? Fantastic name. Samuel the Stone Mason. Let us know what we can do to help you out too, Samuel. So sports is a way that the game can be hijacked and people can, start to get to the no-names on the field, rub shoulders with people, create an opportunity for himself, mooch their way to a position where if they do or don't like the sport, can still circumnavigate their way through RMC by creating himself a reputation, so to speak. G'day, Kaz. You have a nice Christmas? I did, mate. I cooked for my father. I found out my mum has got Graves' disease, which means she can't actually eat most foods. And I love cooking for my family, which sucks. And my daughter's bird died today. But that out the way, I had a great Christmas, mate. Santa opened his sack all over my family, and we're pretty happy. Modi, he's back. Welcome to the Great Unwashed. Great to have you here, mate. Some thumbs up there for Samuel. Fantastic to have you here. Stoddy, are you drinking the rum? Right. So enlistment process. So the officer has to go through a officer selection process. And that is called the... I've just said it freaking 10 times. Help us out there, Dave. Help us out. Quick. Someone put it down there. The officer goes through their officer selection board, OSB. When you go to an OSB and you do it physically, not because of, bam, I was only 19, then what will happen is you'll be there with your team before, usually around 8 to 10, I believe, a section's worth. And then from there, the next day, you'll go through as individual and group activities where you observe the entire time, and they'll tell you do not apply. Okay, you're not going to be an officer. Or you could be an officer, but we've got some reservations. Let's see how we go with that. Or we're definitely taking you now, and they offer you a position. When you don't go to a corps, remember that. You earn your corps by your ability, aptitude, and acumen at the actual RMC itself in first, second, and third class. Thank you, Stubbsy. He's all over it. Matey, is your mum going for a iodine radiation to reduce the Graves' disease? I'm not sure what's going on, mate. They're working out the medication now. She's had cancer. She's had chemo. She's had me. She's had it all, mate. But she's got the best bloke in the world with me dad, who creates people like myself. Okay. Righto. So the second one here, what we're going to talk about now, is the cohort versus platoon. Now, the cohort is based on 480 people, not through just Patreon, which you can join now, but not through the link that I didn't actually put in comments below, versus platoon. Platoon, when Aaron gets in the military, he's going to be part of a platoon. He goes in, and it might be 60 people, although a platoon is based normally around 1 in 28, 1 in 29, one platoon commander, 29 enlisted soldiers, at Kapuka, which will be double size to take into account that people are going to get back squatted, with sections normally at 12, which absolutely doesn't prepare you for 8-man sections in infantry battalions. Pardon me. Don't mind the piglet. The cohort is based on a Roman 480 strong organisation, but it's not actually 480 people. The difference being, when you go into a platoon, unlike Dave, and you go into a platoon, you will scatter, okay? Like people that dropped a fart at a Tinder party, right? And you'll be going, and you won't be near each other potentially ever again. You won't track each other's careers. Officers are different. An officer tracks everyone that was in his cohort because they elevate at exactly the same time. And if you're not going at the same time, because you might not have known that, they're promoted based on time, not on merit. Did you know that? That doesn't make sense for leadership, does it? Okay, so officers will go at the same rate, but then they will notice when someone falls backwards. What's Dave done wrong? He's been passed over. He's not getting promoted yet. Hey, Alex G, how you going, mate? Nice red thumbs up there. I like that. That's a conservative red thumb right there. I love it. Thank you very much, mate. With that, I'm going to buy some zinc to put on my dog's nose before I take it for his first time at the beach. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you in the big blue. For those that don't know, Lauren is sitting out at the moment because this is not the topic that she can keep up with at the moment, and I need to vomit this out. Vomitorium is actually the door at Rome, the Colosseum, where people came out of. It's not about what they did at parties, so to speak. That was fake news. So don't think I'm being rude to Lauren. She's here. So is Mr. Bryce. Explain the difference between a section and a brick, mate. A section is made of 2 bricks of 4 people, and they are called combat teams. And they are part of the Alpha brick, Bravo brick, etc. They have symmetry between them. They have command. Okay, they have communications. Command, communications, and control. So the brick of 4 is the smallest autonomous group. In saying that, it's not capable of getting a wounded soldier out of danger. So therefore, you'll never normally see a brick of 4, a fire team, going into a dangerous fighting patrol alone. Okay, but they will be part of an organisation that allows them to break and have one for manoeuvre, one for firepower, etc. Yes, Ryan, people fail out of done truth. They do, but they rarely fail after RMC, and we'll be explaining that after. So the cohort, you're actually going to be tracking each other's careers despite the fact you're not from the same corps, and you're going to be running to each other all the time because you'll be going to the same officers' mess, okay? And they can make reference to the cohort they were part of, just like you can make reference to the platoon you're part of. Hallway 11, so to speak. Right, let's get rid of that one. Oops. Come, said the boy. Next one, career management. This is where it gets really, really weird. This is one of the ones where I really, really don't agree with it whatsoever. An officer that is not performing well will still promote at the same speed as someone who's doing very well. And how does that happen? Because they promote themselves. What they do is they go through doc and we go through schema, and they will organise when, after a certain amount of time, that they are able to then go and say to Dockham, and they can ring them personally, which I think is criminal. Or is it criminal that schema we can't? We'll go into that. So basically what occurs is Lieutenant Bryce gets to ring up and say, yep, I'm ready to go and do my captain's job, blah, blah, blah. Go and do my COHORT course, or whatever it is. I'm speaking gibberish at the moment. And then they prepare for that course while they're going about their normal job. And then they put in for that course, let their chain of command know, can I go during this time period? Yes, you can. And then off they go, and they might get promoted, or then they will travel on with their progression. But the thing is, they can speak directly to their career manager despite the fact they might be 22 years old. Now, what sucks about that is if you were the greater unwashed, the non-commissioned officer, not only do you get promoted on merit most of the time, which you have to earn, and Sub 1 is a very hard course. It is. Okay, but what happens there is you are never allowed to contact schema. Even as a warrant officer and a sergeant that's done 16, 20 years, you are not allowed to call your career manager. They can call you whenever they want. So what happens is you can have middlemen that have never seen you work that can actually block your promotion or allow others to take your position over you. Now, I wasn't about promotion, so it doesn't worry me at all. But I've seen a lot of people who had real potential, who I saw on the coalface, who was second to none, but always below the surge of promotions that were occurring. Pedro the Gamer, I love your thumbnail there. It really stands out. I love it. Where are you from, mate? And Isaac Watson, g'day buddy, how you going? Team, if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. You'd be a fool not to. That's free. Pardon me. Sniper undies. Ed B knows what we're talking about there. So basically what happens is that soldier, he may get blocked for a considerable amount of time or not get the posting he wants or not get the operational tour that he deserves. I'll give you another example. Someone can play rugby union in the army. That is the quickest way to get rapid promotion through your entire career while still missing field, bush, your job throughout your entire career. And it also means that you normally get a pick of where you want to go because there's going to be rugby there, and rugby is played by officers. And that is where no rank on the field, where you get to all of a sudden relax, brush up shoulder to shoulder and make friends with those that can do you favours, so to speak. Because within every officer, there's a digger waiting to get out, where they can go to where they can be off the reservation, be able to speak their mind and not feel like at any moment they could get torn to pieces for one comment they said in front of the chain of command that determines where they're going next, despite the fact that Kaz said they get promoted regardless. Well, that's not true. They get promoted up to levels where they get to around major, which is the most dangerous rank in the army because it has no supervision. None. All right? And you're not allowed to gob off. You're not allowed to report the major, so to speak, but he can ruin all the careers below him. Very dangerous rank. Anyway, career management. Point to remember what that one is. As an NCO, you can't ring your scheme representative. The officers from their earliest times can directly call their career managers. I've never understood it. Next one, dictatorship. This one should not worry you, but it is a word that sounds dramatic. The army is a dictatorship. Consider the lieutenant is at the pinnacle of the platoon. Yep. The captain and the major are at the pinnacle of a company of 3 platoons. And then you have the lieutenant colonel who is above all of the companies, etc. But no one necessarily supervises any of the officers below them. Loosely they will, but normally they're not actually going to be on the ground seeing what's happening because they don't need to. They will know by the way the platoon is achieving its goals, whether they're doing their job or not. And the burden of command will fall back onto that platoon commander. And there's always a platoon commander that is considered the platoon commander by the major. And there's a major that is considered that by the commanding officer, the guy to go to when you've got a shit job that you don't want to give to a friend. Yep, they're there. So, the dictatorship. That lieutenant says jump, you jump. He's allowed to do his job poorly for a certain amount of time before it starts to get attention from above. The firewall for that is the platoon sergeant. If he gets in early, he can speak to a CSM, which is a warrant officer, who speaks directly to a major and says, "There's got a lieutenant, we've got a broken arrow. And then they might do something about it, or they might let him go about his days until he does a certain amount of damage, fails a certain amount of things, and then gets pulled aside. But normally not. It's a dictatorship in the way that you don't have time to communicate about everything. Tactical commanders are section commanders, and at times the senior soldier of the platoon, which is the platoon sergeant. Well, he might veto almost what the platoon commander's saying and go, "Sir, I need to talk to you for a moment. How about we go over there and have a chat so it's not in front of the men?" So then they go over and do that. All right. But overall, if a platoon commander doesn't need to hear a private's voice at all, almost ever, if he doesn't want to. It doesn't matter what opinion you have, what you think you can do better. If there's not time, then he can only fall down to 1 to 2 levels below himself for advice with wargaming before all of a sudden he's choosing, he's losing time, okay? Everything he does is a compressed timeline from above that's pushing down on him. Stoddy, spot on, Dave. Admin does suck, but when it's done right, it smooths over a heck of a lot of things. Yep. He needs to know that everyone is able to do their job. Here's an example. A platoon commander may not know a single thing about TTPs, tactical techniques and procedures, or SOPs, standard operating procedures, for sections. For the groups of 8 men on the ground, he may know nothing and needs to know nothing about it, but he should want them to be standardised because he's not part of the fight. He's the planner. He's a quarterback punk. That's what he is. He goes, go long to 1 section. Okay, 2 section, 3 section, come with me. He points out and says, that is the capability. That is the victory condition. Go long. Do that. Okay, that's what his job is to do. Dictatorship. Consider this. Don't look for a equality, so to speak, within the environment. Just like a halfback has a completely different career to a winger who has a lot longer career than a forward in rugby league. You know, you've got multiple careers there. What about netball? Has anyone ever heard about the goal defender who's the best at a job? Nah, doesn't score a point a whole career. You know, don't look for fairness. Just be the master of what you are within the role you've got. It's a dictatorship. Don't expect to have a say. Often expect to be spoken at. You know, when you get your say as a non-commissioned officer or private soldier, you will get that as you start to go along with your career. Once you become, no one will listen to a 2IC, a Lance Jack, except the sergeant, because that's to do with logistics. But the platoon commander doesn't want to hear from a Lance Corporal. He wants to hear from section commanders and sergeants, and that's it. All right? Dictatorship. He will talk to you when he wants to talk to you. Never confuse that this guy is your friend. He's not your friend. He's not. And that's by design. Lateral. Is it a long time on average? I'm not sure what that is. What the question was. I'm sorry, mate. Tasmanian Devil. Hope to refresh my membership when I get a new bank card. Mail is slow. Tasmanian Devil, you do what you do, mate. You're fine. How long is a Chinese man? Oh, I've got no idea. Mr. Bryce, sounds like my rugby league career never scored. Rugby league doesn't have much swing in the military. Rugby union does. Private boy's choice. They eat Brussels sprouts and pretend to like them too, just like olives. Let's get out of that. Dictatorship. It's like being married. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam. Okay, we'll just talk about that. You're not friends. There is an expectation with a platoon commander, with a major, with a captain, with a colonel, that there is a certain amount of time that they will communicate with you because they're not rude to you. It doesn't mean they don't like you. But their roles, their careers are completely different. You are a tool. You are bullets, you are logistics, you are time, you are water, you are ammunition, you are fuel. You're a capability that a platoon commander uses to achieve a mission success. That might sound harsh to you, but it won't be once you get in and you remember that you volunteered to be a non-commissioned officer or a general enlisted soldier, or the decision was made for you. You cannot have someone that has to make the hard decisions, the life-altering decisions, career-altering decisions, favouring people continually. It'll happen as a byproduct of humanity. It happens. But generally, the platoon commander is not your friend. The platoon sergeant will stop the platoon commander from getting too friendly with you. There is no advantage of it. One day he might be writing letters to your family, etc. When you go out and you hit the piss, the platoon sergeant will normally be with the platoon commander, and he will tell the platoon commander, it is time that you leave now, sir. I'm not asking you. Go. And he has a lot of weight on that because it is very rare the platoon commander has more leadership, if ever, than the soldiers in the platoon that will automatically follow. It might be a lance corporal, it might be a section commander, it might be a private soldier, hard ass, tough guy, women love him, the Achilles of the platoon. That's the guy they're going to follow. And when you get onto the piss and it gets looser and looser and the platoon commander starts gobbing off, or not realising that he might not have that level of friendship with these guys, and when he starts rubbing shoulders with him, it might come out that you're not the leader you think you are. Or you might say something that offends them. It's like that saying in Band of Brothers, never win money from an enlisted man. Right, they're not your friends. Don't try and be their friend. Talk to them. Be jovial with them. And guess what? They will love their platoon members in years to come. Although they might be aloof with you, they're told to do so by their own chain of command. So don't take it personally. That's why a platoon commander, majors, captains love playing sports, because they get to relax for a while. No paperwork. It's why they love going on courses, whether it's reconnaissance, surveillance or snipers, etc., or DFSW or mortars or signals or pioneers or DFSW, did I say? The reason why they love that is because there's no rank on courses. You come on there as a candidate. Same as when you go for special forces. They love that. Right. So just remember, they're not there to be your friend. So don't put them in a position of trying to make them one. Yep. And they will love you later. And when you're not around, they'll defend you to the hilt, so to speak. They just don't do it to your face. This is the last one. The transactional agreement. Dave, are you listening to this one? The transitional agreement. Now, you've got to understand one thing. The platoon commander will keep it down at the tactical level because he is the guy that's in charge of the biggest amount of people from the officer's perspective in direct command. Okay, section commander's in charge of the most direct command. But that guy, when he goes on a mission, he's going to do mission after mission after mission. Sure. His mission success comes from completing the mission that has been given to him via a mission statement from a higher rank. Nowhere in there did it say keep soldiers alive. Nowhere in there does it say keep them all coming. As a matter of fact, we should never go overseas unless we're prepared, or whether the mission is worth Roger Ramjet getting killed on it. How many Roger Ramjets is this mission worth? 1? 50? 30,000? How many? And that needs to be spoken about before you go overseas as far as the force protection measures go. If the answer is no, Roger Ramjets, then we shouldn't be there at all. At all. So when the officers go on these missions, remember, they're allowed to use a certain amount of bullets. They're allowed to use a certain amount of water, certain amount of rations, certain amount of batteries, certain amount of fill in the blank. But they're also, on fighting patrols, able to get away with a certain amount of coffins. You're all volunteers. Remember that. But, again, there'll be an investigation. What the hell went wrong there? The soldier is different. His job, he knows, mission after mission, pass or failure, understanding we can still lose 10 soldiers and the mission can be classed as success. It won't be to the private soldier necessarily, because we're not allowed to take booty anymore. We're not allowed to take souvenirs. We should be allowed to. To the soldier, it's getting home safely so that you can reset, rinse, repeat. The mission success, the byproduct of that is a chance they're going to get home safely, sure. But our job on every mission is to get home safely. The platoon commander's mission is not to get you home safely. That's a byproduct. Yeah? Is anyone that doesn't agree? If you're not willing to lose soldiers in the pursuit of success, then we're not doing our job. We can't afford to get in gunfights and just be firing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in these 8-hour contacts. You go, if it is worth the prize, then we should be going forward, using something to go in there and get it. But force preservation often makes do forcey back until mathematically something goes wrong and someone's hit. Anyway, Ed, I considered wearing a dress to recruiting. That could help. Being a recruiter, Dave. Ed, I thought you were going to sleep, my man. Kaz, I just got on. Mr. Patterson, great to have you here, mate. As you can see down the banner, we've got the Jester there. Great to have him there. Team, hit the like button if you can right now. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It'd only be fair. Okay? Yeah, it's a transactional agreement. We don't speak about that very often. You know, our hands shake, okay, but the platoon commander wants something completely different from, and as you step up, OC, Colonel, General, when they don't know your face anymore, it probably becomes very acceptable. Sometimes we don't like to hear that, but you'll understand it once you get in. Once you get in the military, you understand. You know, the mission has to be worth the casualties. That's why you never say to someone that we wasted our time going here, there, or there. Especially if you've lost people. Heath, first live stream I've made it to. Going to ad for in 2021. Heath, the best thing you can do, mate, is go on to Patreon. Okay, I haven't got the link below, sorry, mate. And then from there, join the Legion, where you can speak to myself one-on-one about what you might need to know, what can help you, right, as you go through that system. We've got plenty to do. What are the positives of being an officer? What are the positives of being an officer? If you go to the School of Infantry and you go as infantry, it's to the winner gets the spoils, isn't it? You know, it's got the burden of command as well. The burden of command means you're supposed to go down with the ship. But do they? No, normally not. But that's because they're managers, not leaders a lot of the time. Okay, when you get to the School of Infantry, you've got your own wine cellar, $1 a bottle, eating cheese, pretending to like olives. You get to turn up, do PT individually. You are allowed to go to the mess instead of the OR's mess. You go to the officer's mess. You are treated better. There is a double standard, and that's fine. There is nothing you can do about it. You will not get punished in a way that a private soldier will. You'll get away with a lot of that shit because they've spent too much money on you, and they will not discipline you in front of private soldiers. But sometimes the punishment they get is far excessive. And there's been times where I've said before, this is bullshit. You can't give 21 extras to a young man who made a mistake. Okay, he's going to learn from his mistake, but 21 extra days, that's an illegal punishment. We're not allowed to give illegal punishments to private soldiers. You took away. I used to be able to give you push-ups until your arms bloody shortened, but I'd do every single one with you and beat you. But now they go, no, you can't do that. That's an illegal punishment, which I disagree with. Pain is the best thing to put on people to make them learn. Yep. Physicality, it works. It gives back. Luke Hutchins, is everyone else going to Kapuka on the 15th? We're going to put the video out, Luke, and put the video out in the next few days, which is going to be all about when you're going in, what platoon you're going into, etc. Wait 2 seconds. You missed a call. 2 seconds, team. Little lady, probably saying good night. Stoddy. Hello?
Hi.
Hello, darling.
Hi.
What are you doing? Are you feeling okay?
Playing it with the middle on my dogs.
Okay. Guess what?
What?
I've got Derek here.
Hmm?
Do you want to bring him over and play later?
Later?
Tomorrow or the
Later.
next day or another day?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Well, I love you, little one.
Okay, love you. Bye-bye.
Okay. I'll ring you after, okay?
Okay, love you. Bye-bye.
Get to say hello to everyone? Oh. Look, there's a lot of great things that happen with officers, and what happens is normally what happens after their military career. Yep. Normally when you get to major, you start to learn, were you a field commander? And where you get a significant pay rise, where you will look across the spectrum of those from your cohort, what we talked about earlier, and you'll determine, am I still going forward, or am I going to be in limbo, purgatory for the rest of my career? If they're saying, okay, you're going to, at this stage, look like you're going to go to staff college, then you'll probably continue on. The problem being is then you become a fucking politician. And do you want to be that? The higher you get, the more you're skipping rope for someone else. The chances for opportunity for you to be true. Real leadership won't happen back in Australia. It's too much of a political mess. Real leadership happens on opportunities that are presented to you in an operational environment. Yep. Yep. We'll never know who our best leaders are because they may never get an opportunity to show what they've got. Custer, very brash, end up getting whacked because he underestimated what he thought was a primitive enemy. Genghis Khan, what he was able to do was able to spot talent. And what he did was embrace talent. At one stage, they believed that he had 3 of the best tactical commanders in the history of the world, all alive at the same time, fighting for him. Orgadai, Subutai, and Jebbe. Named after the arrow because he shot Genghis Khan's horse out from under him. Julius Caesar, what made him amazing? Okay, well, one, he wasn't really defeated, although he defeated undefeated commanders like Pompey, Vercingetorix, where he was up against supposedly 250,000 barbarians, while he was doing a cordon, and he done a cordon on Alesia while getting attacked from an outside force and defeated them as well on 2 fronts. He also went to Britain. He also went across the Danube. He was an amazing politician. He was a scholar. He was a ladies' man. He was fantastic at everything he touched. But there was a great man that they believe may have been his father, who was Gaius Marius. He was great. He did 7 consulships because he only did for a year. Julius Caesar was never an emperor. But what he did was he completely transformed the Marian reforms, the infantry of the Roman Republic, and completely rejuvenated and changed them into a fighting force that made them almost unbeatable. He was great. He was great. Trajan built a bridge over to the Dacians and defeated them And then what he did was rejuvenate financially Rome for another 50 years. Octavian, arguably the richest man in the history of the world, and didn't go to fights barely at all. A lot of great men. Jay, sniper undies. No, it's true. Pajama Lama, you burn your weekend and waste time, etc. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. True. It's a big responsibility. It's even greater if they go to special forces. Team, that's basically a wrap for officers as opposed to ORs. The expectation of the officer is to always be ready to skip the rope, to never say what you truly want to say if it doesn't correspond with the message of him above you, where the soldier can whinge from the day that he gets his skippy badge till the day he gets out. And they go, that's just him. But the expectation of the private soldier is you start everything and you finish everything. Your job is to be there at the end. When you're off, your job is to party, chase the girls, get the biggest arms you can. But as long as you finish and start everything, that's all you got to do to be a good soldier. And get along with others as much as possible while standing by your buddies. Yep. An officer, there's so many pitfalls. You got to pretend to like red wine, port, olives, all that weird shit. I'm a future army soldier. Nikki, I hope you are, MGTV. I hope you are. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay here, and you will learn drip-fed almost everything that you need to know by watching streams, videos, and productions that will allow you to never truly remember when you learnt how to follow the path, the calling that is going to lay out the rest of your life as you bookend each year, as we say, with Christmases, New Year's Eves, right? And then we categorise them year after year after year. What did we achieve? I'm going to be looking into the 10-year calendar. I want to ask myself, what do I want to achieve in the next 10 years? And then I want to start to set those goals. I need you guys to come with me. I want you guys to subscribe right now. Press like if you haven't already. If you don't, then don't. I'm not here alone. I'm simply a voice. But I can tell you what, you guys, no matter what anyone says, are born during one of the best times to possibly be alive. It's going to be amazing. And you're going to be alive for all of it. That's great. Don't let people convince you that it's not. When you join the military, it gives you the blueprint. It allows you to actually be physically, mentally, and emotionally tested and fail, then get picked back up again through training, through mateship, through, what would we call it? Adversity. And then from there, you'll be pushed back out into the civilian world, normally at your choice, and go into individual business or go into some team building capability where so many of my friends, colleagues, comrades got chosen and now absolutely flying at the top of their fields because there was something different about them. And different is better than good. Always remember that. How do you become different? By living different, by experiences that set you apart from others. You can do that. You will not recognize who you are once you join the military. Once you step forward, your New Year's resolution should be, where am I going to be this time next year? This time, when the wave comes up, falls back down, it says 2022, where are you going to be? I'm thinking of getting back to the 17 to 25-year-old BFA fitness standard. That's a score. That's a capability. What are you guys going to do? At the moment, I've got to go and be a dad. At the moment, I've got to go and do photography for the Patreon members. If you're in Patreon, make sure you go and check it out. I'm doing a shot list at the moment. You say, this is what I want a photo of. I'm going out to get a photo of that. We've already put one up there today. It was a beautiful boat, ship. Hopefully we can see you over there. For the price of a coffee a month, you can speak to me one-on-one and let me go and help others in the street. But other than that, I see 93 as well. Hey, Addy boy, 95. What are we talking about? I see 93. What do I see? I don't know. Let's throw Lauren on for a second. Under 25 mile standard is the only standard. Well, that's right. If everyone did that standard, that would be the standard. Because it doesn't matter if 90% of people do under 25 standard. If 10% do over 25 standard, then that's the new standard we move at, isn't it? Dave, that's logic right there. He's a problem solver. What we're going to do, we're going to surprise this young lass. So now it's back over to you guys.
Good evening.
Hello, how you going?
I'm going good.
Well, I just spoke for 55 minutes without taking a breath.
And you did a good job. See, I would have had nothing to add to that conversation.
Well, who's the best looking there? The Genghis Khan? Julius Caesar? Okay, the private soldier down the bottom from the USA because we don't have enough photos of Australians because OPSEC security?
Yeah, that's true.
Or General Custer?
Yeah, there's just never enough clip art or stock photography of Aussies, I find. Who's the best looking? I don't know. Caesar looks pretty resplendent.
He was amazing. He was the wooer of women. He had that the laurel on. He actually earned that on his head, and that was for bravery. So the leader of the country actually even had the bravery award as well. You can't go past that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Fiona Howarth, hello, darling.
Yeah, Fiona's new here. She said she subscribed and liked, and she was really appreciating the content you were putting out before. We've had a few new people here, and it's really great to see them.
I see you there, Fiona.
Yep, it is really good. So if you're new here, don't be shy to say g'day in the chat. We don't bite mostly.
The thing is, there is so many million YouTube channels. And this channel, as much as it feels good to do productions, you never get that human touch from making a production that you get from a live stream where we create the lore, LORE, where you guys get to laugh and go, man, it's been 2 years since I joined here. It feels like I know everyone.
Yeah, exactly. All the little in-jokes we've got from Pooh Brown Volvos to everything.
On the page there, have you actually seen that before? You see that silver horseman there? That's Genghis Khan?
No, I've never seen it, but what a beautiful sculpture it is. I love its angles.
You've got no idea how big that is.
Is that real? Have you put it on that
It's
building?
like 20 stories high.
So is it really sitting on top of that building in real life?
Yes, it is.
Where is that in the
In
world?
Mongolia.
Oh, I want to go to Mongolia. My youngest son wants to go to Mongolia.
Well, guess what's happening in Mongolia at the moment? What you don't know about, the red corn chip is trying to outlaw them from learning their own language so they can have them completely absorbed into the red corn chip's country so they fail to ever really be Mongolians again. Man,
they can just get stuffed.
They're doing it to a lot of countries.
Yeah, they have been constantly. It's not like this is new, ask Tibet.
How do I say that? McGillis Views. G'day, mate. How you going?
Yeah, that reminds me of Magilla Gorilla.
It does.
Do you remember that?
I do. Currently training for PFA for RAF. Okay, Fiona, are you going to be a danger zone, shirt off, dog tags on, spiking the ball, Top Gun, riding a 750 from 1982, with your hair, no helmet?
Yeah, probably. Why not?
Never close your eyes anymore. I watched that movie at the movies. That's how old I am. There, a boy throws a gorilla up.
I've got a confession. I've never seen it.
You need it in your life.
Do I need to see it, though? I've gone this far.
Well, the hard thing is that the lady that is beautiful in the movie, when you see what she looks like now, you realise how old we've got. She is not beautiful now. She couldn't have done number 2.
Jay and I were just talking about He-Man and She-Ra before, so it always reminds me of how...
Do you remember all the spoiled kids that had Castle Grayskull?
My brother had Castle Grayskull and the Battle Cat and the Man-at-Arms Dolly and all that.
Spoiled. They were like $10 a figure back then.
Yeah, we weren't, we did okay.
Ed B was saying Mongolians have dominated sumo in Japan. Currently, Yokozuna Hakuho has the most wins ever. There you go.
Yeah, see, I love sumo.
Do you know what I love? I saw Star Wars in the drive-in theatre, 1977. Holy shit!
Yeah, I remember seeing Battlestar Galactica, the first one. I was only like, 5 or something, and the big explosions, I think it had was one of the first films to have really good sound, and it woke me up.
I cried when the Cylon, that was the good Cylon, died.
I love the Cylons. I love that good guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
There's a
Brody Payne here. Sorry to interrupt you. He says he's only been watching a few weeks, but it's the first channel he's subscribed to, and he's been loving it ever since. He's trying to join the army, and he finds your vids give him a lot of inspiration.
Brody, you know what? It doesn't matter what the niche is, mate. Whether it was camper vans, whether it was fishing, whatever. When you feel like that you are surrounded by people that get you, that know your language, that do not have the ego with it, but will give you the unsolicited advice that can help you, that can make you different, better than good, without actually giving you the direct answers, which would be a felony, as Vanilla Ice would say, because that wouldn't be good for you if I actually gave you a blueprint how to succeed shit. Yep. You're going to do fine.
Yeah, you will. You will do fine.
Fiona's running at the moment.
Yep.
Run in.
Doing the danger zone right now.
We are. There was a Japanese warrior who was a sumo, and they had equivalent to an ace sort of thing, like the most amount of kills, all that sort of stuff. And I can't remember what his name was, but
Sumo or a samurai?
Samurai.
Right. Okay.
So, but when you fight, it's to the death.
Yeah.
And this guy, how many did he have? It was like over 1,000. He'd killed over 1,000 men in these duels.
Yeah, amazing.
But the weird thing about Japanese over every other nation is that would be an easy decision for us. We'd go, well, I'm not going to fight him then. But that's not the way the Japanese thought. They're like, if he's the best, then that's who I want to fight. Yeah. And what a lot of people don't know about the Japanese Bushido is that when the two armies would come together, what would actually happen is their famous warriors would actually step out and it'd go through a dueling stage where a samurai would come out and, Lauren! And they would come out and go, I want to fight your toughest person. And if you get annihilated, it's still, oh, well, you had to go. But they would do that over and over and over again until there was no more challenges left. So that tells you just how amazing they were.
Yeah, I love tattooing samurai. I love it. And it's always because they have such a variety of their armor. It was amazing. It was both ornamental and practical. It was beautiful.
Well, it was. And I clean my house like a Japanese woman. But some of it's out of laziness too. I get down and clean each tile one by one. Yeah. Because I find it the easiest way to clean. Yep.
I actually have a toothbrush for my bathroom, which is my cleaning toothbrush that I like to get in the grout with. Yeah.
I don't clean the grout.
You don't?
There's Kringles. Do infantry officers and enlistees typically have the same fitness levels? An officer should be always fitter than his soldiers, and wherever possible, he should dominate in fitness to show them his strengths, but never reveal his weaknesses. He should be training, because he gets to train individually, he should be training to be the fastest, to be able to do the most push-ups, and if he can't do something, then he should not do them in front of the soldiers.
Yeah.
As a platoon sergeant, I will not let the platoon commander go and do PT where I know he will absolutely be dominated, because that will not be good. It's not good.
Yeah.
In saying that, it was considered part of the officer's handbook that an officer needs to be professionally arrogant and able to woo the women. He should be better at picking up women than the enlisted soldier.
Yeah, Catonius has just popped in for a quick hello and a happy new year to everyone.
How you going, you crazy Roman?
Yes, he is.
My Jordan Peterson compadre.
Yeah, and I will check out all those recommendations everyone's giving me in the chat. I appreciate that. I will check them out.
Can you please put that, Lauren's going to put in there, we've got about, I don't know, how long do you want to speak for tonight? Can we just get a general consensus how long do you want to speak for? Because I'm happy to jump off or to stay on, whatever you choose.
They always want you to stay on. Whatever you want.
Someone I mean to serve or to look up to. I didn't know that, Stoddy. I didn't know, bro. Thanks for that, man.
Yeah.
Boys already butt hurt me about running for RAF. Fiona, everyone has their reason for going to where they're going. I'm not sure whether your mother or your father was in RAF. I don't know. Whether it's because the guys are better looking, whether it's because the careers can last longer and are a little bit fairer on your body, or because you eventually want to get posted to Williamtown so that you can go to Stockton Beach, where I call home, whenever you want. It's up to you.
Yep.
But you'll still end up, SIGs, okay, get it. I get it. Yep. Catonius, RP Jordan Peterson, lots of laugh. I blame the daughter. He's not actually dead. Yeah, he's a mess. He tried the drugs.
Yeah.
And they nearly killed River Phoenix.
Yeah. Well, he's only human too, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone's only human. All your favourite celebrities, guess what? They're human.
Yeah.
You know?
How good does that thumbnail look?
It's great. You've outdone yourself this time. And I love the little banners at the bottom.
Yeah, well, we always had a bit of dead space there, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's really nice. I like it. Looks snazzy.
Everyone's got to remember who answers you. You know, there's nothing worse than having 20 channels that you're part of, but you never get an answer back, you know, when you've got important things to say. But Dean says, Newcastle represent. My name's Dean and I'm from Newcastle.
There you go.
I went to Newcastle High School. I'm one of the only people I've ever known that used to catch a boat to school every day from Stockton. A boat. Dean, where are you from? Did you go to Newcastle High School? The Rats. G'day, mate. Hello, Kaz. Nice stream. I will support the channel and content for life because you're the only YouTuber that speaks truth on this topic and not crap. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Marcus, the Roman, is in Victoria. Does that confuse you? The Roman from Victoria?
Yeah, a little.
Northeast Vic, anyone. Good to see that everything's open for you guys. Yeah. One of my mates works at the Chadston, you know, and it was really sad the amount of people that lost their jobs there, and now all of a sudden it's over, the shutdown for now. And you're like, dude, it's sad that the shutdowns happen to protect our elderly. I get it, and I will take the vaccine. I will.
Yeah, of course. You just really have to do what you have to do.
But I keep hearing people go, oh, it's okay, the economy will bounce back. But you're going, nah, Costanza, stop right there. There is people with 40 years, 50 years hard work that have been absolutely destroyed by this protect the old. You can't be open. And now they have not only no career, no business, but the legacy that was going to support their family, their generations of wealth that are now wiped out. It's so sad. It really is. There is not necessarily a proper solution to this. I don't think we've heard everything about it yet. But I feel for those people too. And I feel like not enough people are actually bringing that up. The people that have been financially destroyed because of this.
Yeah, it's going to take actual, affirmative action to correct this, and it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
It's not just bounce back. In fact, I don't even think we've begun to see the actual ramifications yet. Okay,
Bryce, you say we took the vaccine for East Timor, so yep. Look, yeah, I will take it to show my parents, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You just do what you've got to do.
Now you're Nam. G'day, Kaz, team, Lauren and team. G'day, mate. How you going? Where you from, sir? Let us know.
Molly, yours here quite often.
But where's he from?
Yep. I don't know. It's an interesting name, isn't it?
Yep.
I've been actually having to come up with Roman names since Christmas time because my youngest son got gifted some miniatures and he's making a storyline for them all and they're 40K miniatures.
Oh.
And so they're painting them and they're they all need like Romany kind of names.
Have they got Roman miniatures in 40K now?
No, I think it's what's it called? Gosh, I'm going to get in trouble for not remembering. And it's very like they're Catholic space soldier things, and they need, resplendent names.
I don't play it. I've got no idea.
Yeah, no, I don't either. But that's what I mean. I'm trying to. There's a sunburnt cow. Is it sunburnt? It's orange.
Hey, Roger that. Thank you, mate. Get yourself a 6-pack and Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, Kaz. Roger, thank you very much, mate. And look, I was out. That's what I've got left. And a 6-pack, as you know, will last me 3 streams. Mate, thank you very much for that, mate. Very much appreciate it. And I hope you have a great time. And I'm thinking about going and buying. What do you think about this? I'm thinking about going and buying a laptop computer tomorrow. The reason being, one of the hardest things about being a YouTuber is when you go away and you get the content and then you come back to 37 gigs of content where you're going, but I'm not in love with the stuff from day 1 anymore or day 2 anymore. And so you end up with all of this content that doesn't get used. Whereas if I go with the computer on the road again, then what happens is you can go and do a minute here, a minute there, strap it together, boom. Return to sender, address unknown. And you guys get more than just streams. You get productions as well where you get to laugh. And one of the things I'd love to do, and Daz, you're the man I think of for this video, I know you're going to goddamn love the idea of it, is what's down there, man? Where I look over with my, with my Osmo Action camera at some water and go, instead of going, well, what's down there, man? And then I jump in so you see what it looks like underwater there. That'd be great because so often we look at water and go, I'd love to jump in there, but I'm not going to because of the clothes I'm wearing, because of what I've got to do, or because of where I'm going. I'd love that series.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. This is what I do, team. I can't afford not to do it anymore. What do I mean by that? This gives me somewhere to go. It gives my brain somewhere to live. I'm a retired veteran, and too many of my friends spend their time with a beer in their hand. Okay? But no new stories being created. But that's not going to be me. Some of you guys are going to be almost old men one day where we're comparing electronic vehicles beside each other, going, do you remember back in the day?
Yep. I'm going to tinker with mine. Mine's going to be souped up. I'm going to get Daz to tinker with mine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hang on. Isaac Watson just said something I wasn't expecting to see in chat, nor did I think it was anything I'd ever say out loud. Hey, Kaz, I just saw 2 stingrays having a root while walking on a pier.
And I know which one that would have been, Isaac. That was the one that got the crocodile hunter, and the girl came to him because she was so impressed that he won the battle.
Yeah.
And look below, we've got USS Wasp here. G'day, mate. How you going?
Yeah.
Billy Ocean wants to be your lover, and you know it.
And Nolly Yor is from around the Brisbane area.
Why did I think he was going to say I come from 37th Street in Vietnam, Nui Dat? I love it. That's what got Steve Irwin. Brady, it did get Steve Irwin, but I've never seen or heard beep, beep, beep as a stingray went backwards. So I don't know how a stingray went backwards and got Steve Irwin. It does make sense to me.
It just doesn't make sense.
At least it wasn't 2 geoducks. Imagine having a couple of those down your pants and the policeman coming frisky and goes, he frisks you and goes, mate, I'm too jealous to look any further, and he walks off.
Yeah, I want to see what gooey ducks look like swimming.
They're disgusting looking things. 2 ducks.
What are they like in the ocean, like when they're alive?
I don't know.
Like when you watch, I saw JP showed me a video of like clams swimming, and it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It was just weird.
Look, they're a level of filth. but I don't like them. Daz reckons, hey, Kaz, what's your view of Army Land Rovers? Thinking of upgrading my Hyundai in the next few months. Auctions. They don't fall apart, man. They don't fall apart. They're not my boat. I'm a van man, to tell you the truth, with all tinted windows only on one side. You know, I like being 1 metre from the most beautiful girl in Byron Bay with my eye against the window going, I'm a fan. No.
Oh my gosh.
Not so. No. Mate, look, I don't know. We've just been talking with a bunch of people going, the car that you get now will be the last petrol car you ever get before you're driving electric, whether you like it or not. You know? Think of it that way.
There's Steve with a green cow.
Hey, I wasn't going to stab you over that one, Brycey. For those that don't know, Mr. Bryce was a good Samaritan and just copped a knife in the guts, you know, by the person he was trying to help. Hey, Kaz, I'm coming up on a year when I have to choose incapacity payments or TPI pension. Your thoughts? It's a tough one. When you go TPI, that means you officially saying I'm off the reservation. You know, that I'm not able to work again, or you can do up to 8 hours. The danger that no one ever tells you about as an older man, you know, or a young man, is you think that one day I'll retire and I'll do this. You're not going to retire, team. When you retire, regardless of what age you do, all of a sudden a door shuts and you start to age times 2. The stories stop. Your friends keep going. Your friends don't retire at the same time as you, so the new stories that you have while you parallel their lives tend to stop.
It's hard.
You know, so just really think about it, man. And if I could, I'd love to have a coffee van. I'd set up a table with one candle on it, you know, and a singles table beside my van, so that people come each day know that's where the single people stand. You know, so you become the dating guy over there, and hopefully a marriage happens beside your camper van one day. I don't know. I'm doing this at 44, probably looking for a different journey than most. Or maybe I'm just mad. Fiona,
there's a lot of folk who do it around that age anyway, you know.
Fiona, I couldn't think of a better thing for you to do, other than a coffee van, of course, than to go and put a uniform on, all of a sudden rejuvenate yourself with new people, new friends, new adventures, uniform, free medical. You're smarter than most.
Yeah, exactly. And we have had a lot of people who are like training or leading up to something who are what you'd call in a bit of the older age bracket. And I believe there's a lot of ladies who about that age you'll be surprised, I think. You won't be alone.
You're never gonna be alone.
Yeah.
Chuck the swim, you'll never know if you don't try, Fiona. That's it.
Yeah,
right on.
You're doing the right thing.
Fiona, that's why people come here, because it is so easy if you are not part of this sort of fraternity in this time of the world, where people are going to say, why would you go to the Navy? Why would you go to the Army? Why would you go to the Air Force? Why would you go to the police force, paramedics, etc.? And you can end up being surrounded by doubters, and you're going, why do people try to put someone's calling on hold rather than just, I don't know, support them in what they do? You know, because if they don't support you, do you know what the first thing you're going to do, love? You're going to replace them with your new friends.
Exactly, but also, if you get banter in here, it is just banter.
I don't mean in here. I mean in the civilian world.
If someone here ribs you about the Air Force and that is friendly banter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. I got sick and lazy this year, and also because, you know, JC likes to give it as well, so we get him. He's a Kiwi.
Exactly.
He's a Kiwi Air Force police officer. Of course, he's going to get teased.
Yeah, exactly. It's what we do.
Kanan Peppers from high school joined RAF last year at 32. She loves it.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. It's, you know, you'll find your people there. If this is your calling, you'll find your people there.
You know who I don't believe, bud?
Who don't you believe?
I don't believe Jay Hayes that Pepsi is just banter.
Jay Hayes is incredibly cheeky.
He cuts to the bone with that Pepsi. I know he drinks it. I look like less of a man when I say that beer doesn't go with any food. I'm a bit of a food connoisseur, and I think beer is the worst food that you can, beverage that you can have with any food. You drink Coke while you're eating food, and then you finish on your beers.
Yeah. Look at that. You've just got a g'day from some New Zealand grunts.
Hey, whereabouts?
Ormondy. Elijah Ormondy down there.
G'day, Kaz from New Zealand grunts, bro. Elijah, you may not know this, mate, but mucho respect to you, mate. Kura takihipuni. I was the section commander over the 2nd 1st Battalion and the acting platoon sergeant while I was there as well. I've done 3 rotations over there, and I've worked with New Zealanders in the Sinai. I've worked with them in East Timor. I've worked with them, where else? On the Sinai Peninsula. Mate, absolutely love you guys, and Anzac is tattooed all over me back. And you know the last one, Elijah? I'm born on Anzac Day.
Exactly.
You guys you complete me.
Yeah, and I've never spoken to anybody who didn't enjoy working with the Kiwis.
They're great, and you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? He's from one RNZIR that's in the North Island. Elijah, what I loved about working with the Kiwi infantry and being at the baggy bar instead of the corporal's bar that got me in a lot of trouble. I think I was the first section commander that ever gave the baggies bar a plaque in the 2nd 1st Battalion, was just how brutal they were. They were still the uncooked, tough version infantry guys that you expect infantry to be like. I loved it because you have to earn it. You can't just get it from rank. Being a section commander doesn't mean you can't get wiped out.
Hang on a second. I've got to open a bottle of champagne for my grown-up sons. Have never opened a bottle of champagne.
Is that champagne?
Yeah. Well, it's too late now.
I'm making bolognese.
Oh, well, you can't use that.
That's
Elijah, yeah, man, sorry to see you fellas getting fucked up over there by your chain of command. Yeah, bro, very different mindset to other places here in New Zealand. It is, man, and it's the opposite of leadership. I believe that the guys are going through, but it seems like it's blown up in their faces, my man. So don't worry about that one. I went to the field with a bunch of Kiwi dudes. Elijah, in case you don't know, Ed B in blue there, he's 11 Bravo. So he is American infantry, and he is the moderator on the channel, man. But he's in Tennessee at the moment. He's got more guns than Gold's Gym. He's one of the brothers as well. We've got Mr. Bryce got stabbed as well. He's ex-army, Stoddy Army.
Yeah, we're mostly Team Army here, but we get people from the Navy and the Air Force and all over the place.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to because you're for a Kiwi, mate. It's just it's rare that we get you on here, but it's great to have you here, mate.
We love it. Yeah, exactly. You're our cousins.
Yeah. Kaz, I was thinking of joining the ADF, but decided to pursue my real passion for weightlifting strength sports. Is that going to pay the bills, but man?
Yeah.
Everyone needs a plan B. This is mine. I may join the ADF as an scientist later on.
The ADF really the plan B there, I think.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine, man, and it's a good name you've got there, mate. But, just be careful you don't get injuries to the stage where, that you can't go to plan B.
Yeah, Jonathan is new here, I believe. He said hello before. He said, hey, Kaz, what are the pros and cons with infantry versus airfield defence guard? Also, what is your personal opinion on both jobs?
Well, Jonathan, I've worked with Air Defence Guard, and let's face it, mate, we are in a peacetime army at the moment, peacetime army. But there is no comparison between Air Defence Guard and infantry. Air Defence Guard a rectangle, like an up-gun security guard, of an airbase. Outside their perimeter, that protects them as well, is infantry, whose role is to seek out and close the enemy, to kill or capture them, to seize and hold ground or repel attack by day or night, regardless of season, weather, or terrain. The difference is the air guards are the toughest guys in RAF. I get that. But that's it. And they may never be tested in that. Whereas, and if they do, it'll usually be from special forces or criminal elements. Infantry, their job is to go and hunt humans to seek out and close with the enemy. There is no comparisons between air defence guards and infantry. Look at the pros and cons of each, and go for that.
Yep, see what suits you best.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Kaz can give you advice until the cows come home. But at the end of the day, it's your life and you must make those decisions and stand by them.
I was in Bravo Company Elijah. Bravo Company 2nd 1st Battalion. Night Mr. Bruce. Lauren. Nighty Steve.
Yeah.
Bretta Cars. Attaboys. Elijah. Infantry is the bee's knees. The warfighters, bro, whereas Aggies do guard a bloody plane, glorified security guards. And you know what? You will realise that once you're there. It doesn't mean they're bad blokes.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what your job is to do,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Fiona, nailed it. I'm back. Carl P.
Welcome back, Carl.
He who lives on roofs.
He what?
He lives on roofs. He does a lot of work on roofs. I'm scared shitless of heights. And Carl P is not fond of them either. Carl, don't go and get red-faced here. Wait a sec. Air defence guards have stuffed necks in life and rings around their eyes from binos. Carl is a lad. What is your actual job, Carl? Are you a chippy or a lechy or whatever? But since he came to the channel and started getting into the fitness, and his son started watching him going for his physical fitness, and he started taking them with him, the actual transformation that Carl has done into the best version of himself has now brushed down onto his sons.
Oh, that's awesome.
And now his sons are mimicking his actions.
And they will, yeah.
And now they're thinking about not doing it on the bike. Now they want to start going for runs as well with him.
Yeah, that's so good. That really is. Hey, it's nice to see Miss Ninja in here too. I hope your health is good at the moment, Miss Ninja. It's always nice to see you. He's an OG from the old channel.
He walks quietly.
Yeah, exactly. In the mist.
Yeah. I went and saw the Gorillas in the Mist in real life.
Amazing.
Grace, how sweet the sound. I met Madame Carr, who was the lady that was the best friend of Diane Fossey, who has she went down the Congo over 70 years ago, and she was going to marry the hot stuff guy that she was with, because the actual, a lot of people don't know this either, the Nile begins in Rwanda.
Yep.
As a trickle. And she went down the Congo and always had the intention she was going to marry her partner from America. And then he turned around and said, I'm not going to marry her. He was MGTOW. And so she ended up going, all righto, well, this is not going to work. See you later. She still never ended up with a partner again, but got an orphanage in Rwanda. And then Diane Fossey from the Gorillas in the Mist came and became her best friend with the volcano in the background. And from there, basically, she's just got a flourishing orphanage, which is always full because of the amount of shit that goes down in Rwanda.
Bless her.
And she had the book all signed, and Brian Brown and Diane Fossey flew her over to America to watch the premiere of the movie, and then flew her back to Rwanda again. And it's amazing. She's got the book that's signed for them. The kids are there, the lovely kids. Yeah, she's got beautiful...
Experience it.
It was a really great time, but I got a migraine that I couldn't shake.
Oh, it might have been that club sandwich toothpick.
I didn't know that toothpicks went through club sandwiches. And I'm no termite. That would cut deep. Harrison Turner and Hooch. Joining as an aircraft tech, you're already smarter than me, mate. Army, what opportunity do you know of for travel on the LHDs? No idea. Yeah. We're in uncharted territory, team. A lot is going to depend on whether Donald Trump gets up on the 6th of January or if he doesn't. I've got no idea anymore what's going to happen there, but everything is not as it seems. Ed
B's off to bed. I will send you an email, Ed.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And Ed, let's get onto that project tomorrow, mate. He's got the day off. He can't escape.
Yeah, very exciting. Yeah, but he might need a nap.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so good night, Ed.
Good night, Ed.
Rufus Leet is new here. He said, "Hey, Kaz, new to the channel. You certainly are different, but good different. That's a good compliment, isn't it? Loving the content in the process of joining the reserves. Welcome, Rufus."
Rufus, reserves is a fantastic way of becoming partial caveman while still keeping your family happy and also bringing in the bacon, so to speak, unless you're Islamic, with whatever other technical profession you have while still staying at home, because you can sort of choose what corps you want to go to rather than going to the regular army and being told which one they believe that you would be better for. So I think it's a really good way to go, mate, and it allows you to unlock some more testosterone within yourself that can be passed down for that pride when you get to around 40 years old and you actually start to think to yourself, do I have regrets? The answer is no, because now in reserves, you're firing weapons, getting tackled, getting injured, loving it, and getting paid tax-free dollars. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who doesn't love? Luke Craig has a question. How much snow training does infantry get normally, Kaz?
Only with dandruff from wearing a helmet too much? None. None, basically. That doesn't mean we don't go in areas that go below zero, but it's very rare because I'm a northern soldier. Even when I was in New Zealand, it didn't snow while I was there. It was just sleet, rain, and freezing. So the answer is basically no, mate. None.
Exactly.
Crozy says President Trump gets 4 more years and the traitors that tried to overthrow the US by stealing the election will be held accountable. I hope that's the case, Crozy. I really do. I do. I hope so. Elijah says, "Hey, Kaz, have you seen that stuff from TP about how the CO did a minute to send that fella to the field? Seems pretty fucked up, eh? Makes me glad I'm in New Zealand and not getting treated like you guys."
Yeah.
Look, we still get treated really, really well. We do. We do.
There is a few problems with the upper levels of leadership at the moment, but that will get sorted out. I have total faith it will.
Look, this is the thing. This is right on topic because we're talking about officers as opposed to soldiers. The hard thing is here, there'd be a lot of cases where the hierarchy, because you've got to remember that with insubordination, etc., that you are not allowed to say a single thing if you're an officer that questions the officers above you. So then you've got to question, do you have moral courage or don't you? Because moral courage, the buck stops with you as a commander. If you don't question it, then you're to blame as well. But if you bring it up, then your career is mincemeat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and no, I really do believe that's all going to get sorted out. There's a spotlight on them now like there never has been before, and people are watching what they do and what they have done. So I do think it's going to be better going on. Snow is better than sleet. It is. I hate sleet, actually, but I love playing in snow.
Look at Ed B's new puppy wearing his Where's Wally jacket. That's a beautiful dog. His name's Rusty. Can we get some thumbs up for Rusty for those that can, please? Both Ed and I have a puppy now. I've got a little cavoodle. Thought I was a German Shepherd guy until I held a little bugger. It tastes like chicken. I love him to death. What are we going for time? 1:33. Let's go for another 6.5 minutes.
Jessie Bray's off to bed. Good night, Jessie. Say good day to both of your your ladies for us.
Yes.
The profile picture is him with his lady, his little girl.
And you have a beautiful time as you take them in the new year. And look how observant Jay Hayes is, which is West Side, not cerebral palsy. Kaz, where is the third wristband? Have you gifted it? Bam. Yes, I have. I gifted it to a young bloke who's about to join the police force, who is the son of my unofficial blood brother, meaning he punched me once, and his name is Jaden Hallman. So if he's watching right now, he actually, he was the one that noticed that I had these around my wrist and said that they're beyond blue, aren't they? And I had 3 on her. I said, well, mate, why don't you take one? And he said, yep. And he said he's never going to take it off. See you later, Ed B. He's going to sleep with Rusty. I can't match Rusty. Well done.
Yeah.
What's Elijah? Yeah, man, it's the catch-22 that goes on with MJ. I don't think he means Michael Jackson. Like, I got done for being bottled at the first baggies, and I got charged for not snitching. Lots of laughter. Bloody charges cracked me up. Elijah, I got absolutely shit kicked out of me one day by a soldier who king hit me, then danced on me like I was rubbish. But I knew that he was temporarily insane because the girl that he was in love with was trying to dig on me, but I wanted nothing to do with it, but he didn't see that. And so he went into attack zone. And after that, I was his instructor. After that, he came and said, what have I done? I never mentioned a word to anyone. I guess I am now. But that wouldn't have been my place to go, I'm a sergeant. You were he was a lance corporal or a corporal at the time. That wouldn't have been, it just wouldn't have been right. So I didn't do it because I've deserved ass kickings before too.
I think we all have at some point. Yaros is off. He said, hey team, hope all is well. Fantastic topic tonight. He'll have to watch the stream later on. We're not going for too much longer, Yaros. Yeah,
and Yaros, now I need the kebab again.
Yeah, he's on holiday in Queenscliff. Where's that?
I'm not sure.
Mr. Buckaroony would know. He's been everywhere.
What did I do for Christmas? I was here with my daughter. Everyone, Dave Penson is in Vietnam. He lives there in a street you can't get a car down. There's no politics there. He can't speak the language. Fantastic. This man gets things done, which is the reason why he was away one. I know a chief of army that started as a bricklayer from sapper, the lieutenant general. Great stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, David's awesome too. We love having him here. I wouldn't mind some of those recipes though from Vietnam.
Yeah. Look, on Christmas, I cooked the best prawns, and it wasn't the famous garlic sauce, Elijah. I'm a cook as well, a chef. I like to call myself self-taught from YouTube. And what I didn't realise was the magic garlic sauce that I normally cook, I strayed away from that. And what I did is I cooked prawns, and I didn't realise the gift of dropping just the 1 tablespoon of soy sauce on the garlic chili prawns, more garlic. It was like 8 cloves that I chopped up for it, so it actually became like a sensation as well, like a what do you call it? It was a anyway.
Had a great flavour profile.
But it didn't over garlic it because I cooked it long enough. But the sugar.
Still light on the fizz, so you can slam it. Is it still light on the fizz, so you can slam it down? It was fast?
Light on the fizz, so you can slam it down fast. Wide mouth, solo, the only drink that does it. Okay, but on top of that, it was a texture. It created the texture to it, which was fantastic. But the magic was not the soy sauce that went on top of the garlic and the chili and the shallots, scallions, if you wish, so they sound like you know what you're doing, on a bloody cutting board that it had raw chicken, not washed. It's when you put the sugar over the prawns, normal sugar, a couple of teaspoons of that, because what that does, it creates like, not Agent Orange, like plastic. Napalm.
It doesn't create Agent Orange.
It allows food, the spices to stick to the prawns where they wouldn't normally stick because they hadn't been caramelised.
Yeah, I understand.
It was so good.
When do we get that recipe?
Well, I need to put it on here.
Yeah.
Corporal Riley Brown. G'day, mate. How you going? Dave, do you automatically do Giuliano sticker? Where's that one?
He said, if you decide to leave the army after 4 years, can you go straight into being a reservist?
That's automatic now. That's automatic. And I think some of that is based on that's awesome for Army Reserve, and it keeps your signature valid. But it's also allows you to not stay in the system. If you've made a bad decision, if you got out for emotional reasons, relationship reasons, not liking the chain of command, etc., it's a good thing.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Carl P has said he's sitting on the Sunshine Coast for a week. He wants to know, when is the next stream, Kaz? Will it be this year or next year?
That sounds funny, doesn't it? Will it be next year? I reckon. I don't know, man. Because if I buy this computer tomorrow, I'm really not sure. If I buy this computer, I'll be. Hey, Firms D, how you go, mate? I'll be in Newcastle. If I don't buy the computer, I'll be here, and I might stream. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, mate. There might even be a live stream on the beach. But if I do a live stream on the beach, then I'll set this up with a tripod. But it just means that my wok eyes, from too many years of squinting, looking for the enemy, might not be able to read the comments. And I'll be looking like some sort of weirdo. It's Kaz from Channel 5, speaking from Stockton. See you later, Elijah.
Yeah.
Kura takihi puni. We are ready, mate.
Yeah, good night.
Good to have you back, brother.
Yep.
I saw this meme and it said, what if 21 says to 20, hold my beer? That'd be fitting.
Then we'll hold on. We'll be all right.
Hold on.
Yep, exactly. I was thinking more of like that song, A Drop of Nelson's Blood. Stoddy know it. He knows sea shanties.
Sea shanties.
Yeah.
I remember those. I remember that. They used to taste great.
No, not that kind of shanty.
I can't believe it's only 8:30.
No, not can I. But I actually have to go do a wee. Are we going soon or?
I'll stay on for a little bit longer if you want to go,
All right, well,
especially because Brody's back.
Yeah, you don't have to hang up. I'll be back in a second.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't make that weird animal spraying its scent sound in the background.
I'm not taking yous with me.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
COVID-19 is gone and here comes COVID-20. Imagine that, Brody. Lewis Jameson. I'm living in Canada. Right now, COVID is still kicking our asses over here. Can't wait to move back in a few years after high school. All the best over there in the land of the maple leaf, mate. Beautiful country. Weird speaking Aussies over there. Lewis Jameson, have you heard of CANZUK, which is Canada, Australia, New Zealand, okay, and the UK? They're looking at that, and if they get it in, they'll only become the fourth biggest financial superpower in the world. Did you know that? Will, cannot wait for our vaccines. Hope they come soon to help everybody out. Stay safe, everyone. Will, I agree, mate. Matty, yep, there's opinions on both, mate, for sure. And I don't know what I actually think of the 19 overall. I will take it because I've taken every other vaccine before I go overseas on operational tours, etc. So another prick, as Elton John once said, won't really matter. At the moment, I just feel like my life is on hold. I just need either the 6th of January or 20th of January to get here so I can actually see what's going to happen to the Commander-in-Chief, because it's going to make a massive difference to the rest of the world regardless. Brody says, would be nice to see ADF get bigger if we can get CANZUK. We won't get bigger, mate. The army won't get bigger. It costs so much money just to keep this many in the saddle, and size doesn't matter anymore, although size in itself, as a red corn chip would say, is a denomination which cannot be argued with. The cost of keeping those people in uniform, especially in today's day and age, is staggering. But we could turn into a 1 million person force fairly quickly, except for the fact that 60% of Australians are overweight. Now that would be the hardest thing. The lurker's here.
Yeah, the lurker's here.
I've got one mosquito in here. And Jay, have you ever heard of this one, mate? This one's the Jay and the lurker. Every time you think out there that you can't make a difference, there is a saying that if you think you can't make a difference as one person, did anyone ever give that memo to the mosquito? How many mosquitoes does it take to ruin a night's sleep for one person or a family?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't tell a mosquito, come on, mate, you've had enough to drink.
When you're going to bed, this is why I have a mosquito net over my bed, right? We don't get that many down here, but I I tell you, I hate that buzzing of that one, you know? Yeah, it's so annoying. And then it goes away, and then it comes back.
It's when it stops that you shit yourself and you
It could drive you
and you hit
crazy.
yourself, and then you hear and it was on the other side of your face. You little son of a bitch. Did you know it's only the girl mosquito that bites?
No, I didn't know that. You are full of interesting nature facts.
I've been getting bitten by bitches my whole life.
Like, how long is an oyster pregnant for?
16 hours.
Yeah. Amazing.
A
See,
drop
Michael
of Nelson's
does
blood,
know
mate.
it. He does know it. He knows that sea shanty.
A drop of Nelson's blood won't do us any harm. I was in the army. Sea shanties are my data dumping file in my brain.
I love sea shanties. They're great. And a lot of them actually they're not all Navy. You've got to remember they had the lobsters on the boat back in Nelson's day, and that, you know, they were the Marines were on there.
That's right. PK is here too, who is the father of AK, and I'm not talking about a Soviet weapon system with iron sights machine built. I'm talking about a really good guy. That's right, Geoduck Chuck, right onto it. You just said lobster. There's something that a lot of people don't know about lobsters.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually immortal. They can actually live. They can actually live forever. But they were born with a curse that they're also the most delicious animal in the ocean.
They are delicious.
So
I love them.
you can find one over 100 years old, but eventually you're gonna go for better communications. Put your antenna out, and something is gonna go. Hello, Clarice, and you're gonna get axed. So they don't know how, but they're actually classed as an immortal animal. They cannot die from anything other than brutal means. Get that up your carapace.
Yeah, think about that for too long.
Matty Borrell, I don't think I've fired. I'm not sure. I might have fired an AK. I used to own an SKS. If we could only bottle mosquito-hating energy.
Yeah, it'd be like a nuclear weapon.
That's it, Dave. You know, I went to sleep drunk as hell off my 4 beers in East Timor before we came home, and I didn't realise that the guy before me, the scallywag, the son of a bitch, if you will, you know, I hope that he gets, you know, the plague of the ball sack. You know, what had happened was he'd had a shower and then put a towel back where I was sleeping, and it had become a nest for the tropical mosquitoes.
No.
So they nested in it, and so when I got in there drunk and used it as a pillow, I awoke the nest, but I'd put the mozzie net over me, so I'd actually lock myself into a cage of mosquitoes like that program where the scientist used to put his hand in and let him bite him.
Yeah.
And then I came home and got malaria, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you end up with dengue or malaria? But you did get malaria,
Yeah,
didn't you?
I was in there with my best friend. I loved it.
Yeah, you did. Tom Paul did not enjoy it at all. He said it was the worst pain he's ever been in.
It gives you an absolute ass kicking.
Yeah, that's what he said. But, you know, malaria is just one of those things. You know, my bed actually looks like it's come out of the old days of the colony empire.
Singapore.
Purely because I can't stand mosquitoes.
Yeah, PK, I'm all over it, mate. Kaz, 6th of January, save the date. 7th in Australia for US vote on electors. Will Mike Pence save the Republic? I heard something really interesting yesterday, mate, and that is that basically all empires or all major civilizations start as a republic, and then they move into it or degrade into a democracy, and then the democracy becomes a tyranny, and then the tyranny either reboots back into a republic or destruction of that said empire. It's a scary one, mate. It really is. And they say that the best civilization you can have is a republic. Finish the sentence for me, Lauren.
Huh? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
We were speaking about this one yesterday. The best civilization you can have is a republic if you can...
Hold on to it, is that right?
Hold on to it if you can keep it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, I was paying attention then.
Yeah. Guys and gals, it pays to be in the loop, but in saying that, be very careful of becoming red-pilled, because once you're red-pilled on political issues, on geopolitical stances, never expect to be believed, always be thought of as a silver tin foil hat wearing freak,
Those who haven't.
and you can't go backwards.
Yeah. Hey, Brody Payne says, "Hey, Kaz, Lauren and team, got to go put my son to bed."
Good night,
say
young
good
fella.
night. Love the stream. Keep it up. Good night, team. Good night, Brody.
Well, we might leave it with that, because I'm going to go and ring my little girl now too.
Yep.
You know, and guys and gals, in summary, righto, in summary, we're in 2020. The difference between an officer and an enlisted soldier, whether it's for right or for wrong, you choose that chain, and there is downfalls to each, and those can become profound or or negligent or no big deal, depending on how long you serve for, because the senior NCO has more of a say than what the private would. He is, if you're not there to be the leader of the team, then you can have a lot of power in the supporting role. And an officer actually walks through a greater minefield than what the private soldier does, or the section commander, or the sergeant. You make your own career. But the saddest thing is when an officer actually uses moral courage, he'll normally ruin his own career. And that's the whole thing he's supposed to do. Yeah.
Yep.
So great is by being different.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Is it, before you go, is it okay if I post a link in your comments after the stream has uploaded?
Absolutely. Lauren is going to put a look at my battery is down to 0. Lauren is going to put a link right now in comments.
Well, I can put it in the chat. I don't know if I can though.
Try and put it in chat. I think you can, and naturally give permission for anyone now. If you want to call out someone, if you want to say, "Hey, Kaz, can I put that in?"
Wait, that's the wrong one.
That's the wrong one.
I'll remove that.
Okay.
That was someone else posted before. I'll get it.
But if you want to find out some shit that went down with our channel in the back play, there you go. And alternately, not just here in the actual comment section, Lauren can put it in the actual comments, and I'll pin that to the top, of those comments as the video actually renders. Guys and gals, Merry Christmas. Have a great year. 2021 will have its ups and downs. It'll have its surprises, but that's okay, because there's no promises in life, except for the fact, if you consider the fact that you exist at all is a miracle.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. All right, team.
Yep.
All the best. See you later, Jay. Not cerebral palsy. Check out Lauren's video. Have a good time.
Night, everyone.
Heaps of shit's coming your way, and I look forward to being the voice of the good people of In the Trenches with Kaz, because after all, aren't we all in the trenches? Yep.
We are.
All right. Take these, Lauren. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your year. And I'm a bit distracted by your thumbnail, because now I'm looking at it, it looks like Custer is being held like a little bubby by Caesar.
Okay, now that yep, you've got me.
It just got me, and I can't not see it.
And Genghis Khan looks disgusted.
Yeah. All right, everyone enjoy the rest of their year.
Do that. See you later, Jonathan. Thank guys. I've loved the content. Have a great new year. Looking forward to content from this channel. You're going to see a lot more of it. Thank you for donating your time. You could have been anywhere, guys and gals. Excellent. See you later.